Hey everyone, today's topic is essentially, an absolute lifeline as a leader, which is having effective one-on-ones, and more importantly, how do you do it virtually or remotely? So when you think of one-on-ones, obviously, one-on-ones are not just meeting and just talking about stuff and feeling good as a leader. This is a classic Dilbert joke here. One-on-ones actually have a very important meaning. And again, going back to Andy Grove, with his work, the way he puts it is something that I've always used as a North Star, which is 90 minutes of your time can enhance the quality of your direct reports work for 2 weeks or for 80 plus hours. So think of the leverage these one-on-ones have. You are really using this time, if used effectively, can really unblock a lot of potential, can inspire the people that are working in your team. And it's the time well spent. In fact, it's the best use of time as a leader, really a high leverage activity. So how do you, what do you do, when it comes to one-on-ones, right? There are different ways to sort of structure it. One starting point, essentially, is to create a shared agenda. So think of this as a document that you share between you and your team member. And for every meeting, this could basically be a document where both of you are adding items that you want to cover. So especially useful for team members that are junior. Obviously, as you think about senior membership, it is the same model applies. It's just implicit. The team members are expected to own the agenda, own whatever they want to talk about. And as a manager, you may or may not have topics you would add to the list. The meeting should always start with the team members' topics. And in fact, if the whole time is used for by the topics of team members, that's time well spent. That's the absolute goal, right? So always remember this in terms of starting with the person that you're having with one-on-one on in terms of top of mind, whatever topics they want to cover, right? Blockers, help required, tactical topics, long-term topics, and so on. Now, as a manager or as a leader, there are specific kinds of topics that you should be covering, right? So the topics that you could be adding on, there may not always be enough topics for the other individual. So this is where you think of these categories, and these are the kinds of topics or questions you should cover, which is tactical topics, understanding issues. That's an area if there are issues going on, developing long-term goals for the individual, developing better support, career discussion. These are all topics that you should be adding in your one-on-one, right? Just to give some more topics on self-improvement, company improvement, manager improvement, happiness, work habits, personal life, team relations. Always good to get a pulse check. How is everything going on in the team? How is what are some of the obstacles that are coming in the way of high productivity? Like what could we be doing differently to leverage the full potential of the team? Now, obviously, you should have a cadence, and within that cadence, the first set of topics are topics of your team member, and from the remaining time, you should always have a list of these topics that you can sort of cover, not just in a single one, but across multiple one-on-ones that are happening at a cadence. There are some good links here, good resources. I'll share these share these slides. So good set of questions in case you want starting points to get started. One key aspect is always asking for feedback. So in the meetings, having this in some form, you can cover this, may not be exactly in these terms, but is there something I should be doing for you that I'm not doing, or anything I should be doing better or more often, or really, anything that I could be doing to make things happen, right? These are all very good questions you should try to cover whenever possible, and potentially in every meeting, depending upon the sequence. And also, sometimes, obviously, if there are a lot of other topics already, we never get to this, but this aspect of what else, which is, hey, what else? Things which we didn't cover, typically during wrap up, what else? And some very interesting topics come up for this question. Now, in terms of preparing for the one-on-ones, this is more comprehensive list. So I'm not suggesting that for every one-on-one you need this kind of self-reflection, but it's important to have some self-reflection for the one-on-one, and then periodically revisit. You can come back every quarter or so. What you're reflecting on is, what did my report do well in the past week or past month, whatever your frequency is. Do all my one-on-ones feel awkward? This is basically, this thing where some ones feel awkward and some don't. And it's like, okay, why is this one feeling awkward? What is going on? Is there aspects which we're not talking through? Right? So it's kind of helps you think through that. Are the individuals bringing in the biggest challenges? Is there enough feedback being given? So on and so forth. So this is more in terms of making sure you're motivating, you're touching on the right points, you're getting the right input, you're giving the right training, and one-on-ones actually are really a great way to build rapport. In fact, for everyone in your team, it's actually a fun time to help coach, share your experience, and really help others grow. I strongly believe that it's the relationships that we're investing in terms of not just making the team better, sort of making the individuals better, but also the team better, which is very important. So takeaways, folks, really setting up a fixed time and frequency, practicing active listening, open-ended questions whenever you're asking questions, and really sort of balancing positive and negative feedback to understand the unique strengths and development areas of team members. And basically the key point here is for every question that or everything that's discussed, you definitely have to have, if there are areas of improvement, definitely sharing that, or how would you do it differently, better, just sharing your framework. Sometimes it's not important to share the answer. It's important to really share how you would have thought about this problem. How you would have deconstructed the problem if you were doing it. Wrapping up, from an assessment standpoint, really look at your one-on-ones and try to categorize where most of the time is spent. I'm pretty sure you will discover that there are one or two go-to categories that tend to be the most favorite ones. So this would really be based on a reflection, forcing yourself to pick on the other categories and making sure you're covering those as well. Hope everyone found this useful. See you guys in the next session.